Oh, sorry, he's good. Okay. He did come up front. I saw him go.
Where's Andy Katz?
Andy's with the boys.
You mean you saw her? You got to see her. Well, I think we do our John. We're in. Start? So you signal it. I think now, right?
Turning the brothers right there, all like that.
Good morning, everyone. I present to you the Landon class of 2019.
Critical thinkers. They're asking questions. What should I do now? What is my place? I am.
Oh yeah, Sabine, get in there.
Yeah.
Dust guy. Oh yeah. No, no,
Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Harris. I'm the chairman of the Landon Board of Trustees. On behalf of the entire board, I'd like to welcome you to Landon's 90th commencement. And please remain standing for America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriotry that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Please be seated. It's a true honor for me to be a part of this day for you gentlemen. I was in the class of 1984, and to me it doesn't feel like a very long time ago. When I was in your shoes, it felt very strange for this day to be called commencement, but today really does begin the next phase of your life, not just as a whole, but the next phase of your Landon experience. And it's just as fulfilling and connected to the school as this first part has been. As you physically leave the school to colleges and then to jobs and to families and participation in the wider community, you'll begin to appreciate how fortunate you have been to have had the Landon experience. The men sitting with you will be some of the closest friends that you will ever have. You will appreciate that when you share joys, and even more so when you share and go through hard times. The wisdom that you have absorbed from your teachers and coaches and mentors will provide you with insight and perspective on so many difficult decisions that you'll make throughout your lives. And you'll appreciate the importance of character and integrity that you've learned here, particularly where you see that the rest of the world doesn't always have it. And in all of these things, you'll feel even more connected to Landon and more cognizant of what a special place it is. So today, I welcome you to this very special group of men who have been fortunate enough to call Landon home.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gus Manzor, and I'm a proud member of the class of 2008. I'm pleased to be here this morning and bring greetings from the Landon Alumni Association and to welcome these young men into the ranks of Alumni Brotherhood. I have the distinct honor at this time of presenting the Hugh C. Riddleberger Alumni Scholarship Award. While this award does not honor a graduating senior, it is presented at commencement to recognize the rising senior class and its highest achiever. The Riddleberger Award is named after Landon's second headmaster and is presented annually to the student who has obtained the highest general average in the fifth form, a number that is calculated right up to the final hours before this event. An important part of our ceremony today will be the transfer of leadership, which takes place when the members of the class of 2019, our new alumni, leave the amphitheater, and the members of the class of 2020 step into their new roles as the senior leaders. The winner of the Riddleberger Award will lead his fellow students in academic achievement in the coming years. It gives me great pleasure to announce this year's winner of the Riddleberger Alumni Scholarship Award, Drew Curran. Drew, would you join me on the stage?
This art award is given annually at graduation to recognize the significant contributions a senior has made in the arts at Landon. Open to seniors in the performing and studio arts, recipients must demonstrate creativity, innovation, ingenuity, and receive the award for his artistic merit. I know this art student for his analytic and independent inquiry that result in drawings that are exemplary and admired for their craftsmanship. His advisor, Mrs. Matthews, adds that he fearlessly explores diverse subject matter to develop his skills and broaden his range, which included enrolling in more than one art class a semester because he preferred the challenge of making art over finding out what to do with all that extra free time. He's quiet about his accolades, which are meritorious. He's the only Landon student to be exhibited back-to-back in the 8th Congressional District Art Show, selected by Congressman Jamie Raskin. When you see the arts publication for Landon, this student selflessly created it as a service to the school during his senior project. He has combined his interests in mathematics, computer science, and visual art to design a game concept, test the elements of it, and use this and his passion for creativity as a springboard at Cornell University in the fall. On behalf of the upper school faculty, I present the 2019 Eleanor Ann Johnson Award for Creativity, Innovation, Ingenuity, and Artistic Merit to Connor Pugh. Please welcome Harry Murphy.
Ricky's a little taller than me. Good morning, my name's Harry Murphy and I'm Dean of Students in the Upper School. The Malcolm Coates Student Activities Award is named for our third headmaster, given to the graduating senior who has demonstrated outstanding constructive participation in non-athletic activities. This year, we are presenting this award to 2 students. Our first recipient comes as no surprise because his responsibilities as student council president are more than enough to win this award. Mr. Belaski, the faculty advisor to the student council, described Zach as a young man of exceptional character, superb leadership, great compassion, general excellence, unmatched tenacity, and inspiring courage. Zach's integrity is surpassed by nobody, on or off campus. He goes on to say, as student council president, Zach ran the 10 honor trials that we had to date this school year, plus he presided over many other cases that ended up not going to trial. Each of these cases requires an extraordinary amount of time and emotional energy. During the course of these cases, Zach has demonstrated repeatedly that he is a natural-born leader with exceptional integrity. The other students on the student council hold him in the highest regard and turn to him constantly for guidance in making some very difficult and serious decisions. With this influence comes tremendous responsibility, and Zach always has risen to the occasion by acting with extraordinary character, great compassion, and tremendous courage. He is the ultimate team player and does whatever needs to be done to help Landon. As president of the student council, Zach also ran our upper school meetings, spoke at numerous school-wide events, and regularly gave presentations in the upper, middle, and lower schools. As if that wasn't enough, Zach also found time to be involved with the Black Student Union, the Multicultural Student Alliance, and Lower School Buddies since his Form 3 year. Zach has an artistic side as well, being involved with improv and acting, and sometimes even performing his original work at morning meeting. Personally, I will never forget his beautiful poem on Mother's Visiting Day last year. Varsity basketball coach Charles Harley said Zach was more like our own personal general manager, very thoughtful and pragmatic. He said the Wizards should contact him for their current job opening. Outside of school, Zach spends his summers volunteering for weeks at a time with Muslim Youth of America. I would like to wrap up with a quote from his college counselor, Mr. Forbes Mann, who said, "We at Landon are grateful to see such maturity, such consideration, and such seriousness of purpose in Zach, our most senior student leader. Zach is mature beyond his years, and this maturity imbues everything he does at Landon and in his off hours." Please join me in congratulating Zachariah Abdul Mumin Zaid. Our next recipient is, in my opinion, one of the most thoughtful and considerate students to ever grace the halls of Landon. His advisor, Mr. Cassidy, describes this student as an excellent citizen and member of the Landon community who truly embodies all that Landon stands for: perseverance, teamwork, honor, and fair play. He is one of 13 prefects, a member of the Multicultural Student Alliance, having served as president during his junior year. The Ally Council, he serves as a student ambassador and participates in various theatrical groups. As a member of the Ally Council, which focuses on issues facing the LGBTQ community, he represented Landon this year at the Association of Independent Maryland Schools Making Schools Safe Conference. And he served on 2 panels, one held in Washington, D.C., known as the TABS Conference, and the other at Green Acres School, where he spoke to middle school students. Dr. Blair Northcott notes, "This student is such a friendly, happy guy who seems to really care about others and thinks about the consequences of his actions. He displays true empathy and wants to learn more about how others see and experience the world." In the realm of theater, this student has participated in acting workshop, the Holton Winter Play, which was Marvel One Acts, the Landon Spring Play, Newsies, Improv, and Drama Club. Ms. Gershowitz shares that he's a great company member and utterly charismatic on stage. As a student ambassador, this student conducted tours for prospective students and their families. He served as a peer tutor for younger students in biology classes and participated in Science Bowl. Also, as a prefect, Mr. Wright notes he has a concerted interest in proctoring middle school study halls so as to develop relationships with those boys. This student's exemplary record in non-athletic activities is especially noteworthy when considering his commitment to a rigorous academic schedule that includes honors and AP classes while maintaining a high GPA. His achievement in math and science earned him last year's Kyle Richards Award, and he also won a few awards last night at Baccalaureate. Further, while this award is for non-athletic activities, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that he was All-IAC all 4 years as a member of the varsity tennis team. It is my great honor to award the Malcolm Coates Award to an authentic and noble gentleman, Rodrigo Antonio Pedraza Garcia. Please welcome our athletics director, Bill Brady.
Good morning. It is my great privilege to present the William Harrison Triplet Award, which is presented each year to the graduating senior who not only made significant contributions to the athletics program, but who has distinguished himself by displaying superior qualities of team dedication, respect for opponents, and regard for the spirit of the game. This year's recipient excelled in the sports of football and wrestling, over the past 4 years earning 8 varsity letters. He overcame adversity earlier in his along his path to success in the form of a devastating arm injury he suffered during wrestling freshman year that required surgery. Some thought it might be career-ending. Others thought he might decide to focus on a single sport, football, where as a freshman he was a starting running back at a meek 130 pounds. Coach Paolito stated, "I remember his freshman year that he played games where the guys tackling him were literally twice his size. After each play, he enthusiastically bounced up and ran back to the huddle, never once thinking he was at a disadvantage." Since then, he's grown tremendously, both physically and as an athlete. Now in his senior year, he became a lean 180-pound athlete. Yeah, he didn't go backwards. Both quick and powerful, he led the team in several statistical categories. He was equally as good on both sides of the ball for the Bears and earned Player of the Year for the IAC, as well as All-Met for defense, amongst other awards. On the wrestling mat, he was equally impressive. Known for most of his matches lasting no more than 30 seconds, or in some cases not as all as other people would game the lineup to avoid him, he kept his focus and dominated time and time again. This year, he led the team to their second IAC title in as many years, and personally surpassed the 100-win mark, culminating his record at 101 wins and 25 losses over 4 years with the program. In a sport that is very humbling, he often humbled the other school's best athlete. Most impressive about this young man was his growth as a leader. Coach Paolito stated, "He has really grown into a strong leader. As a young player, he was focused more on his personal development. As a senior, he stretched himself as a role model, displaying positivity, a great work ethic, and strong communication skills with both his teammates and coaches. He became the teammate you want to play with." Coach Katz echoed these sentiments and added, "He took his role as a captain seriously and represented the team and the school to the highest level at all times. I am proud of the person he has become." While he could most likely continue to be a two-sport scholar athlete in his college years, we look forward to seeing him excel in the classroom and on the football field at Harvard University. It is with great pleasure that I present this year's Triplet Award to Jelani Mation.
Let's go, whoever you are, let's go, come travel with me. Let's go, whoever you are, let's go, come travel with me. We will go down the open road, we will go where high winds blow, we will go down pathless and wild, sees the world before me. Let's go wherever you are, let's go, come travel with me. Let's go. I give you my hand, I give you my heart, I give you myself. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
My name is Andy Katz, and I'm the Form 6 Dean. I get the honor of doing the Carol Mercer Marbury Award, and it's for the spirit of fearlessness and tenacity of purpose. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to present the winner of this award. He has made a great impression on me in his time at Landon. I know that personally, I will miss him next year. He is a hardworking, determined, passionate, dedicated, a leader, and a team player. Nothing will stop him in his pursuit of knowledge, his desire to help others, and his commitment to leading his peers to a higher level of excellence in the classroom, on the fields, on the mats, and within the community. He impressed us all when he shared his wisdom about hope in his ethics speech. Axel joined this community last year as a junior. And in his short time here, he has made a huge positive impact on Landon. As a wrestler, he set the bar high as he broke several records this year. Most wins in a season at 47, most pins in a season at 33, and the most wins for his entire career at 168. As a person, he is kind, compassionate, and trustworthy. While it has not been easy for him, he has always done it with a smile on his face as he appreciates all the opportunities he's been given. As a first-generation college student, I know he will continue to represent Landon and his family well in the next part of his journey at York College. Please join me in congratulating the winner of the Carol Mercer Marbury Award, Axel Geron. Please welcome John Belaski, Director of Ethics Service and Leadership.
Good morning. The Student Citizenship Award is given to the senior who has demonstrated the highest type of school citizenship by his unselfishness, integrity, courage, and spirit. I've come to know this year's recipient very well over the past 4 school years. During that time, I've coached him on the freshman basketball team and subsequently worked with him as a student council member all 4 years, a senior prefect, a McGuire Ethics Scholar, and as president of a community service club. Based on those experiences, I can say with certainty that this year's recipient is everything that we educators and parents hope for in a Landon Bear. He's a young man of exceptional character, extraordinary work ethic, strong intellect, outstanding leadership, inspiring kindness, and yes, unselfishness, integrity, courage, and spirit. He represents all that is good about Landon and is the model of an ethical servant leader. Because of the student's many accomplishments and exceptional character, the Landon faculty voted last year for him to receive the prestigious Harvard Book Prize for overall excellence in every area of Landon life. And last night at Baccalaureate, he had a repeat performance, receiving top awards as a scholar, a musician, a community servant, and an athlete. This year as a prefect and as a student council member, he has shown the best of Landon as a leader, and he continues through his work in the community service club to do the same. I'll just share one quick anecdote to show this recipient's unselfishness and spirit. We hosted a Special Olympics soccer tournament outdoors in the freezing and driving rain, and this student was the first to show up early with the athletes. Many of our Landon boys were still in bed, but there was Omar, ready to help in any way that he could. Yes, in everything that he does, Omar Ahmad demonstrates the highest type of school citizenship with his unselfishness, integrity, courage, and spirit. And that's why he's this year's winner of the Citizens Award. Please join me in congratulating Omar.
Good morning. My name is Aaron Fedorowitz, and I have the privilege of serving as the upper school head here at Landon. The Upper School Headmaster's Award honors a sixth form student for general excellence, citizenship, and participation in the life of the school. It is the highest honor the upper school faculty can bestow on a graduating senior. Like many parents, I send my 3 kids to school each day with the hope that they will be nurtured, offered opportunities to grow intellectually, emotionally, and ethically, and above all, I hope that they will be safe and cared for by their teachers. And reflecting on this year's recipient of the Headmaster's Award, I've come to the conclusion that while the student certainly has grown during his time at Landon, he has turned the table on the student-school dynamic. It's quite evident that he is the one who nurtures our community. He is the one who pushes his classmates and teachers to grow intellectually and emotionally, and it's he who has helped promote a safe, kind, and ethical environment for everyone to enjoy and prosper in. I believe is the most fitting way to convey this young man's measurable impact on his peers, teachers, and the greater Landon community is to refer to the heartfelt praise his teachers have penned over the years. His Spanish teacher, Miss Coffey, shares, he's the most intellectually gifted student, really one of the most intellectually gifted people I have ever met. The thing that makes him so magnetic, so influential, and such a blessing to work with is his humility, gratitude, and thoughtfulness he exudes when communicating ideas, most of which will level the room in their uniqueness and perspective. His English teacher, Miss Matthews, offers, he's probably the strongest student I've ever taught. I'm sure you'll hear that from many other teachers. In my mind, the thing that sets him apart from other great students include the following. He can work productively with anyone else in the class. He supports his peers by keeping them on task and encouraging them to shine without hogging the spotlight. He challenges himself, often choosing the more difficult path if he feels he will learn along the way. His humanities teacher, Mr. Foley, exudes, tough to put in words what exactly makes him great, isn't it? I suppose I'm impressed by his wholeness. He's one of the few adolescents I've known to be a developed subject. There's a there. He has integrity and discernment. He's purposeful and idealistic in the best sort of way. This makes his choices to be a good human being, to work as hard as he does and be as kind as he is, all the more meaningful. He doesn't do things for the carrot or the stick, but because he believes in them. And this is not a naive belief. This is the belief of someone with as much of a sense of self as any adults in the building, albeit with less experience and therefore greater innocence. Mr. Foley concludes, the most excellent student I've ever met or I've ever worked with, a true prodigy. His intellectual capacities, habits of mind, and virtues of character are unparalleled. Finally, the most striking of attributes the student possesses is his full and unwavering commitment to a life of integrity and respect. This young man has been elected by his peers to serve as student council member and selected by his classmates and faculty to serve as a senior prefect. He very much represents the best that Landon has to offer. Student council faculty advisor, Mr. Belaski, reflects, he was an exceptional representative on the student council. In every honor trial, he was completely committed to both the honor code and Landon's community of trust, but also the learning experience of the student involved. Since the first time that I worked with him as a freshman, he has amazed me with his thoughtfulness, maturity, wisdom, brilliance. He truly is an outstanding young man. Mr. Belaski certainly is right. He is an outstanding man. He has pushed us all to think more deeply and analytically. His sheer presence demands that we be more kind and inclusive. His unwavering commitment to modeling honesty and decency in all that he does raises behavior and expectations for the whole community. He has made Landon a better place because of his unique ability to be a caregiver to all, thus fulfilling our hopes and aspirations we as parents have for our children. The Headmaster's Award, General Excellence, Citizenship, and Participation in the Life of the School, on behalf of the upper school faculty, it is my honor to recognize Harrison Muth as this year's Headmaster's Award winner. Please welcome Charles Franklin to the podium.
Good morning. We now take a moment to recognize two members of the faculty and staff through the presentation of the Alice S. Casamano Award and the Mary Lee and Paul Landon Banfield Award. For both awards, a large silver bowl that has all the recipients' names engraved on it resides in the headmaster's office. Each recipient also receives a smaller engraved bowl with their name on it. The Mary Lee and Paul Landon Banfield Award goes to a member of the faculty who has made a significant contribution to the life of the school and who exemplifies the qualities of mind and spirit most valued by the founders: integrity, self-discipline, responsibility, conservatism, imagination, and beauty. This year's recipient is a person of unparalleled optimism and patience. He has brought to our community a deep-seated compassion and respect for boys and colleagues alike. In his time in both the upper and middle schools, he has earned admiration for his multifaceted contributions. I am pleased to award this year's Banfield Award to an excellent educator and a valued colleague, Mr. Tom Drescher. Mr. Drescher unfortunately could not be with us this morning due to an unforeseen family situation. The Alice F. Casamano Award goes to a non-teaching member of the administration or staff who has made a significant contribution to the life of the school and who is an embodiment of the professionalism, enthusiasm, loyalty, and commitment to service that makes life better for every member of our school community. This year's award winner is a man who has lived out Landon's mission on a daily basis. He has been an inspirational figure for countless boys in the lower school, and he has served the Landon community with grace and integrity. For his positive impact on generations of Landon students, this year's recipient is Randy Bednar. I would now like to introduce Harrison Muth to deliver our valedictory address.
Good afternoon. One second. Okay, my name is Harrison Muth, and first I would like to thank all of you for being here today, all the families, friends, faculty, and staff that have come to watch our class on its final stage at Landon. And I know many of you have traveled very long distances to be with us today. On behalf of the class of 2019, I would like to thank you all for making the journey. Your presence here means a lot to every one of us up here. So I came to Landon as a very nervous, quiet, and unsure fourth grader. And while uneasy at first, I'm incredibly grateful to my mother for having chosen to send me here. The experiences I've made here and the relationships I have made with both students and faculty are invaluable to me. I know that I'm sure that my class holds similar feelings about their time here. So as I was reading the yearbook this year, I noticed there were profiles done on a few seniors in which they talked about meaningful experiences at Landon. I was struck by how powerful they were. There were students who talked about coming out of their shell, finding their own self-confidence, students who talked about the profound familial bond they made here with both coaches and teachers, and many other stories. Reading these, I noticed a common denominator between all of these stories: the comforting, resilient feeling of brotherhood and what it enabled these boys to do and what it enabled these boys to feel. One student, Bobby Fang, a Chinese exchange student who has been here these last 4 years, talked about being welcomed into the homes of 2 Landon families. He spoke of the unique experience of being an exchange student, the unlikely feeling of family he felt here, and about the Spain trip he went on the summer before his junior year. I was with Bobby in Spain, and I tell you, it was the strangest feeling being in a different country with people who spoke a different language, and yet feeling almost at home because I had my brothers with me. There's the phrase, home is where you hang your hat, but in Spain, to me, it felt that home was where my brothers were. Well, one more of the senior profiles was for a certain Mr. Ki-Hun Lee, and it detailed his epic rise to pop stardom as he sang at the first annual Landon Talent Show, during which he climbed the stage and gave a very impassioned rendition of John Legend's All of Me. Kian said he didn't think he would have given that performance at any other school, and afterwards he became even more aware of the familial bonds here. So what Kian does not know is that a couple months after him belting out John Legend, I was asked to speak at a Landon event on that same stage. Now, when I arrived at Landon in the 4th grade, I was quiet for a few reasons, one of which being a frequent stutter I had in my voice, which still flares up occasionally. This gave me from a very early age a great fear of public speaking, which is great right now. And so when I was on stage at the event, I was nervous and sweating. However, on stage, I actually thought of Ki-Hun, and I thought about nobody really expected him to be a singer. He wasn't in chorus or drama or anything like that. He didn't go out for the school plays. Yet he had gone up here on the same stage that I was now on, and he had faced a crowd much, much larger than the one that I was facing. Thinking of Ki-Hun singing actually calmed my nerves and made me feel at home again. The brotherhood Ki-Hun said, enabled him to sing in the first place was now allowing me to give my speech. This is something that I'm incredibly grateful for, and it's these small things you don't normally share with people that stick with you, and Landon is full of these kinds of experiences. So senior year makes you think a lot, and at least for me, I spent a good amount of time reflecting on my Landon experiences and thinking of how I was going to make the most of the remaining time I had left in high school. During this, I noticed I was thinking about the time I left here in a way that I didn't feel was very life-affirming. And so I thought I would share my thoughts, especially to the juniors in the audience, because soon you too will be down here on the stage, and you too will be wanting to make the absolute most out of your senior year. I think there's a lot of pressure to view the time we spend in high school as some kind of pre-living, where you're not really living, not just yet. You're just preparing to live. After all, we go to a prep school. We're preparing for college, preparing for the SAT, preparing for a recruitment weekend if you're an athlete. These are all very important things we do here, but they all send the subliminal message that we're just not in the main act yet. We're still in the prologue. And in most books, nothing much important happens in the prologue. So thinking about this one day, I actually got upset because I realized that this lens of preparation through which I was starting to view my time here, it said these things I've done here, these things that we do here, are not valuable in themselves. They're only valuable in service of this life we have yet to lead, only valuable in terms of recollection, so that in 20 years we can look back fondly on our times in high school. Now, whole genres of music are filled with looking back on the glory days of high school. I was very unhappy in how I was viewing my real experiences as some piece of art that I had to perfect, to make the absolute most of, just so I could hang it on my wall and look back on it. I didn't want a painting. I wanted my experiences real and visceral and live. Because you see, if you treat high school like this pre-living, or living for the sake of recollecting, or living strictly in preparation for that next phase, who's to say you won't treat college the same way, or that first job after college when you're just getting a footing in that industry? Or maybe you'll really start and be in the thick of things when you get that established promotion, or move to that town, or marry that person. However, lives do not have prologues, intros, rising actions, and tidy conclusions. What you see around you, this is it, and you should make the most of it now, not just so you can tell your kids about it, or so you can have fond memories about it, but just purely for what it is. While you're still here, you should suck the marrow dry from this place, doing the things you never thought you'd even try. So to my fellow seniors, today is called Commencement, and while we may be told this is when we really begin, do not let that persuade you that our times here have not been meaningful. I urge you to keep Landon with you, not as some piece of art to look back on, but something that makes you a part of who you are and shapes the things that you will do. What we do here matters, what you did here matters. Landon is not just something to look back on fondly, but something that makes you who you are. What we have learned, the friendships we have made, these we take with us live and real. Thank you, and go Bears.
Thank you, Harrison. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you to celebrate these seniors as we close the 90th year in our school's history. How wonderful it is to honor the accomplishments and growth of these soon-to-be newly minted Landon alums. I want to thank Mr. Harris. Again, thank you, Harrison, for your inspiring and thoughtful reflections this morning. Thank you also to Rodrigo and Jake and Mr. Pipley for your thoughtful words last night, and to Mr. Wright for his reminders about leadership at the senior dinner. All of these are part of a series of ceremonies that culminate in today, this past week, this past month. Indeed, this entire year have been filled with numerous lasts, all leading up to this event. And now, here we are. Now it is almost time to go. But before we move on, first a few words about this class. Before us is a special group of whom we are very proud and for whom we are very grateful. Among the many feelings that today brings, I do hope that the primary one is happiness for the persons these young men are becoming. Indeed, the class of 2019 is one with abundant and varied talents and gifts, and is not a group that can be easily labeled or classified. I asked some faculty in the upper school how they would describe this class, and their consistent themes were diverse, kind, and connected. Here's what a few of them said. Overall, I found this class to be full of caring, thoughtful, respectful boys who are eager to build community and to extend a helping hand. And from another, this class is hard to define. They run the gamut from young men who are very quiet and reserved to those who are outgoing and gregarious. But one thing is clear, this group cares about each other. They are a collection of very different individuals who have supported one another. And finally, the hallmarks for this class, for me, are its authenticity and kindness. They are almost kaleidoscopic in their range of interests: athletics, theater, music, service, politics, and the list goes on. But everyone seemed not only to accept one another, but to genuinely enjoy one another. The boys of 2019 brought a sense of camaraderie, good humor, and sportsmanship to everything they did. They may have seemed a little goofy at times, but in actuality, their emotional IQ is off the charts. They were comfortable demonstrating their affection for one another, and in tough times when classmates or even faculty or staff were hurting, they noticed and took action to give comfort or encouragement. Truly good guys all. This big-hearted and multidimensional group has come together fittingly from a variety of places and represent some 33 different zip codes. They also came together over time, with about 30% joining Landon in the lower school and middle school respectively, and the final 40% joining in the upper school. Also somehow fitting this varied group is the fact that they are now headed off to 60 different schools, with 41 going as solo representatives of Landon at that institution. More than a third of them are fanning out across the mid-Atlantic, about a fifth heading south, and almost a quarter are moving to New England. The remaining fifth are moving to the Midwest, the Rockies, California, or overseas. Above all, these boys have shown themselves to be committed to one another and to this place. And as one teacher said, they are ardent supporters of Landon who are devoted to each other with conviction. This is evidenced in their motto for the year, which we've heard about over the last couple days, Band of Brothers, about which we heard Jake speak so movingly last night as well. It was a theme that I think resonated across the school as a call not just to fellowship, but also to critical loyalty and to a collective sense of values-based accountability. Members of the class of 2019, today is something of a commissioning of you, a public acknowledgement that much as you put your name next to the principles in the Code of Character each year when you sign it, Landon now puts its name next to yours on the diplomas I will hand you shortly. It's an endorsement of you, and it's not an insignificant thing. So before we pass you those diplomas, and before you make your way up these stairs, I want to take this one final opportunity while you are gathered here for the last time as Landon students to reflect briefly on 4 words that are collectively central to the meaning of this occasion. Those 4 words are transition, foundation, responsibility, and purpose. We've heard this truism over and over that the graduation ceremonies are both endings and beginnings, and that the word commencement holds within it both meanings in something of an ironic tension. Last year was the first time when I experienced a secondary school graduation for one of my own children, and it's informed how I regard these occasions and this word. I see now, in perhaps more clear-sighted ways, and with all due respect to Harrison's comments, that a high school commencement is so much more of a beginning than an ending. For as much as this event is about celebrating a series of programmatic requirements completed, and as much as it is about marking the end of your days as students of Landon, it is really about formally launching you into something as yet unknown, something that is ever changing, into something that will be marked by challenge and achievement, joys and sadness, ups and downs. So today is an important moment to highlight my first word of transition. Such transition is almost palpable for those of us looking at you sitting there together, dapperly attired, so brave, young, and handsome, to reference the title of Leif Enger's novel about a young man's journey of self-discovery. And this is perhaps why graduations are emotional occasions for parents, grandparents, and graduates alike. For along with the exhilaration and the excitement comes nostalgia and worry and anxiety and a clear sensing of the passage of time, which is why urgently delivered words of advice, I suppose this is an example of that, and heartfelt words of support, I know that this is an example of that, from parents, teachers, and other adults are always part of these occasions because they represent clear demarcations, not to full adulthood, but to a time of greater independence and autonomy. And here's an important truth about these transitions. You are being launched when you are not fully formed. All of you have a long way to go until you really understand who you are or who you want to be. Uncertainty lies ahead, and with it both good times and bad times. That is the nature of life. It is as the author Alexandra Fuller writes of her own growing up, the pathos and the gift of life is that we cannot know which will be our defining heartbreak or our most victorious joy. But you are sent forth nonetheless, and it is as it should be, which leads me to my second word, foundation. We hold this sending forth celebration confident that you do not do so in an entirely rudderless way. Instead, we do so hopeful that we have imbued in you, young men of Landon, certain important values that will allow you to weather the inevitable change that represent a solid foundation on which you will be able to build your characters, your identities, and your own personal stories. You have heard these principles over and over: perseverance and the importance of hard work and determination, honor and the importance of honesty and integrity, civility and the importance of respect and decency, teamwork and the importance of collaboration, and humility and caring selflessness. These principles will become more relevant and important with time, and they will allow you to navigate in a world where disruption itself has become something of a norm. So don't leave these values behind. Cling to them, make them more than words, but deep-seated and treasured parts of who you become. To put it another way, make them your foundation. Which leads me to my third word, responsibility. As much as Landon is a place, it is also an idea, a community of values that calls on you to live differently, that calls on you to be better than you might have otherwise been. The Landon mission in real ways represents a challenge to every student who comes through its doors, namely that you be the persons this school is calling you to be and indeed expecting you to be. We have immersed you in foundational values during your time here because we believe that they are important. But now we call on you to embrace them and live them out, no longer because we say to do so, but because you choose to do so, because you agree that they matter. This is something we are expecting that you will do. This is your responsibility, to live out the principles that have been taught here. This is, as I said to you in this very amphitheater on the opening day of your freshman year, the obligation that comes from being someone to whom much has been given. As we launch and celebrate you, we do so with this expectation. And this leads me to my final word, one that Mr. Wright challenged us to think about the other night, namely purpose. Living your lives in a way that aligns with the challenge Landon has laid before you puts you on the path to a purposeful and meaningful life. We call on you to build the individual stories that are about more than just achievement and personal satisfaction, but that are instead about virtuous living and the betterment of the world of which you are a part. This requires other-centeredness in how you go about your lives, which in turn gives you some clarity as you confront the question of your purpose and place in this world. A quote from Martin Luther King frames powerfully this notion of finding a purpose that looks beyond the self. It reads, "Everyone must decide whether he will walk in the creative altruism or in the light of creative altruism or the darkness of destructive selfishness. This is the judgment. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" And so I ask you the same. What will you do that betters the world around you? Embrace your responsibility to build on and expand your Landon Foundation in ways big and small that leads to a greater collective good. Be persons who are known for living upstanding and generous lives. Advance the greater human story in the positive direction that it currently so desperately needs. And know that you will not go this alone. We are here. Your families are here. All of you are here. Lean on all of us. Lean on one another. You did not choose Band of Brothers by accident, and you did not choose it as a theme for 1 year alone. You chose it for this year and for every year going forward. Gentlemen, again, congratulations on a job well done. Thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication to Landon. We have faith and high hopes in you and for you. Take care of yourselves, make us proud, and come back often to visit. Thank you.
Omar Ahmad. Andrew Reza Akbari. August Aaron Andrews. Thomas Walker Atkins. William Landon Banfield V. Nicholas Charles Barbeau. William Scott Barufka. Maximilian Young Becker. Chase Randolph Blazer. Edward Lawrence Bowe. William Frederick Bowe. David Carter Brainerd II. Terrence Allen Bridgers. J. Lefevre Boudin. Dane Matthew Camphausen. Jonathan France Kaplan. William Henry Carlson. Rohan Singh Chabra. Joshua Harold Chapman. Safin Ryan Chowdhury. Jelani Tavon Cross. Kian Dai. Sachin Lalith Das. Jacob Calloway Davidson. Dara Dilmagai. Christopher Joseph Ziak. Ichi Feng. Ethan Kohler Fine. Jonathan Conrad German. Axel Huron. Sawyer Cook Goldman. Duran Von Gray. Tenyon Han. Chaz Pierre Harley. Daniel Symington Henschel. Vernon Wilson Holloman IV. William Burke Jarrett. Thomas Sher Johnson. Ade Alua Uranthan Coyote Jones. Jonathan Joseph Kahn. Nicholas Andre Kramstoff. Gaetano Blue King. Joseph William Cagle III. Matthew Harold Kopp. Jacob Stephen Kowitz. Garrett William Kurtz. Zachary Scott Langdon. Mitchell Douglas Laughlin. Kyun Joseph Lee. Aaron Spencer Love. Jelani Ronald Machen. Owen Desmond McCarthy. Darian Timur Mirzoyev. John Hunter Montgomery III. Jelani Kadar Morgan. Ty Weldon Morton. Okay. Evan Dale Murray Heitshaw. Harrison James Muth. Charles Southard Nottingham. Olutubi Afolabi Olani. William Michael O'Shea. Ryan Elliott Patterson. John Thomas Paul. Rodrigo Antonio Pedraza Garcia. Farley Thornton Price II. Connor William Pugh. John Douglas Ramthen. Jediah Benjamin Rosenberg. Bernard Francis Saul IV. Austin Chase Schneider. William Truxton DeForest Sears. Aiden Maxwell Janevsky Segal. Justin Thomas Sides. Armin Robert Savaslian. Miles Bennett Tonkel. Patrick Michael Townsend. Peter Cushing Van Allen Jr. Nicholas Alexander Whalen Jr. Jalen Devon Williams. Jesse Harris Ray. Weijay Yan. Zechariah Abdul Mumin Zaid. Stefan Radomir Zamirovich. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2019. Please join us in singing Landon Forever.
He's re-going.
He's gonna re-go. You guys do it again?
We're re-going. You were students.
Okay, you have to go out back up, right? Oh, here we go. All right, very good.
You go first, Carly. One more time, let's hear it for the class of 2019. And welcome to the class of 2020. Thank you again for being here. Please join us in the Perkins Garden for a reception. Have a wonderful summer. Go Bears.
All right. Yeah, well done. Yeah, let's go.